The moment is here, the part nobody really tells you about. Mercury retrograde has begun, and the effects are already unfolding in ways you haven't even noticed yet. From the instant Mercury slipped into retrograde yesterday, your body entered a state it rarely experiences. And the first few hours after that, they hit harder than you expect. Here's the truth. Your body reacts before your mind even catches on. Right now, it's preparing you for something you're about to feel, whether you're ready for it or not. Something strange happens in the hours after Mercury goes direct. Suddenly, you become acutely aware of your posture in ways you never were before. Sitting down, you notice your spine slumping, like it's been slowly collapsing over weeks. Lying down to rest, you feel your body twisting in odd ways. One shoulder hiked, your neck crooked, hips uneven, and for the first time, it actually bothers you. It's as if retrograde has thrown a spotlight on all the little ways you've been neglecting your body. People catch themselves constantly adjusting, straightening their spine, shifting their head, correcting a slouch they never noticed before. Even lying down feels unusual. You're suddenly aware of all the tiny positions you've tolerated without thought. This awareness isn't subtle. It's sharp, almost intrusive. A shift in your chair instantly shows where your ribcage has been collapsing. Stretching your legs exposes tension hiding in your calves. Lying on your side reveals a spine protesting decades of neglect. Things that never felt wrong now scream for attention. This isn't some spiritual metaphor. It's your autopilot shutting down, finally letting your body speak. This is the moment you stop living above the shoulders and start inhabiting the full physical form you've been dragging around your days. Right now, something is unfolding in your body that most people wouldn't even link to Mercury retrograde, and I call it micro-karma. Mercury rules the tiny details, the subtle interactions, the micro-signals you overlook. When retrograde starts, your body begins cashing in on those small energetic debts. You might notice it in odd ways. A flutter in your stomach after a seemingly harmless conversation, a cough when you hesitate to speak your truth, or even a sneeze just after dodging something uncomfortable. These aren't dramatic, but they're signals, tiny reminders that your body never forgets what your mind tries to skip. Retrograde sharpens that memory, making your body's commentary impossible to ignore. After retrograde, these micro-checks don't appear in your thoughts. They show up physically. It's as if your body is finally reading the fine print you've ignored all year, one sensation at a time. And what it reveals sets the stage for shifts most people never see coming. One of the strangest after effects is how your appearance and energy can suddenly change. Some people look in the mirror and swear they seem lighter, fresher, almost younger than a few days ago. Skin looks smoother, facial tension melts, eyes shine brighter. This isn't symbolic, it's physical. Mercury governs those micro-reactions you barely notice. The quick muscular tics from stress, the overthinking, the subtle bracing your body does under pressure. Retrograde overloads the system, but when that tension finally releases, the body exhales, jaw softens, forehead relaxes, eyes lose that micro squint of anticipation, muscles unclench, and your whole face reorganizes into calm. Relaxation isn't passive, it's your body returning to itself. Less tension equals more radiance. Less internal chaos equals clearer presence. That's why, after retrograde, some people feel their energy lighter, more magnetic. Their presence itself has returned, and it changes everything they notice next. Retrograde also affects expression, but not in the typical communication problems way. you may find that words just don't match the feelings inside. Thoughts float in your mind, but feel distorted when you speak them. Mercury rules not only speech, but the way you translate internal emotions into language. Retrograde slows that translation, making words heavier, more layered, more emotional. You're not losing your ability to speak. You're being asked to feel before you articulate. Conversations may feel slower, sentences get interrupted mid-thought, or your words fail to capture the truth of your emotions. The louder your heart gets, the quieter your words seem. But this isn't permanent. Once retrograde stabilizes, clarity returns. Your mind and heart sync again, expression becomes effortless, and what felt like a blockage is revealed as an expansion. Your emotional depth outpacing your language. Sleep is another signal Mercury retrograde leaves behind. Post-retrograde, many notice shallow, hollow, or strangely disconnected sleep. You may sleep, but deep rest doesn't come. That's because a part of you is still moving through unprocessed experiences, finishing emotional work your conscious mind missed. The body rests, but the subconscious keeps walking. You wake up tired despite hours of sleep because your spirit has been moving. Closing loops you weren't aware were open. Retrograde reorganizes your inner world, and that work doesn't stop just because the planet moved on. This is the unseen, physical, and deeply personal rhythm of Mercury retrograde, a reset of your body, mind, and emotional system that you feel long before anyone else sees it. Dreamless nights, unusually light sleep, or waking at odd hours, especially around 3 a.m., are clear signals that your inner world is still sifting through a backlog of emotional and sensory information your conscious mind hasn't yet processed. This isn't insomnia, it's your inner system working to shield you from seeing something too soon. It's also why some people feel as if they haven't dreamt at all. The subconscious sometimes draws the curtain when the content is too raw, too jagged, or incomplete. Others may feel as though they're floating in sleep, never fully sinking into their body. That sensation, it's the subconscious keeping you slightly elevated so it can continue its work uninterrupted. Even now, with Mercury direct, your inner dialogue hasn't fully caught up. The conscious mind quickly accepts the planetary shift, but the subconscious moves according to its own clock. It needs time to gather fragments, rewrite the internal story, and decide what you're ready to face next. Sleep becomes its method of communication. One of the most common physical sensations reported since Mercury went retrograde is an abrupt awareness of sound, particularly ringing in the ears, not the kind caused by external noise or music, but a subtler, almost fleeting tone that appears and disappears quickly. It's the kind of sound that makes you pause because it feels like it's originating inside your head, not the surrounding environment. While retrograde may not directly cause this, for those sensitive to energetic shifts, the timing is likely meaningful. Mercury governs the micro-signals of your nervous system, the tiny electrical impulses that let you interpret detail, sensory input, and information. When Mercury shifts retrograde, these micro-signals can feel heightened or irregular. Your body interprets this as a high-frequency tone, a fleeting pressure change, or a ringing that vanishes as suddenly as it appeared. This is most noticeable in those who feel their environment more than they analyze it. The ringing acts like a soft alert, a subtle signal that something in your perception has shifted. For some, it arrives with a brief moment of clarity, sharpening thoughts or igniting instincts. For others, it's a flicker of static, disrupting focus. Either way, it's your nervous system picking up cues before your conscious mind can catch on. You're not imagining it. You're tuning into a layer of perception that normally hums quietly in the background. While it may feel odd or distracting, it typically settles as your body adjusts to Mercury's new rhythm. The ringing fades, sensitivity levels stabilize, and your senses return to normal. But the fact that you noticed it at all shows your body is responding to subtle signals most people never perceive. Another frequently reported effect after this retrograde is head pressure, but not the kind linked to migraines or ordinary stress headaches. This is different. It's a heavy, deliberate presence behind your forehead, a tightness around the temples, or a slow, almost mechanical pressure behind your eyes that makes you blink more often than usual. It isn't painful enough to stop your day, but it's impossible to ignore. This pressure happens because your brain is working in a deeper, structural way, not the usual overthinking or mental strain. Mercury governs the pathways your mind uses to interpret information, notice patterns, and make connections subconsciously. When Mercury retrogrades, your brain is forced to pause those automatic processes and reassess them. Think of it as a natural mental recalibration. During retrograde, your mind collects observations, unfinished thoughts, unresolved reactions, and unexpressed truths. But the real processing often starts only after retrograde begins. That's why head pressure appears just after Mercury shifts. Your brain is quietly reorganizing, running simulations of potential outcomes, questioning old assumptions, and integrating experiences you haven't fully absorbed. This pressure isn't confusion, it's clarity assembling itself. The subtle tension across your forehead or behind your eyes is a physical reflection of shifting perception. You're not imagining it or exaggerating. Cognitive restructuring manifests physically before it manifests mentally. Some feel the pressure spike when thinking about certain situations. Others notice it randomly in calm moments, as if the brain decided it's time to reorganize something you hadn't even considered. The eyes may feel more sensitive, or focusing may become unexpectedly effortful, not because of fatigue, but because your awareness is expanding into new territory. There's a reason this pressure localizes to the forehead and behind the eyes. These areas are tied to your ability to interpret, predict, and process patterns. As this system updates itself, surrounding muscles, tissues, and nerves react. It's similar to the way emotional clarity can feel like weight, except here, clarity is still forming. The tension is part of the building process. Once Mercury's influence stabilizes, the head pressure gradually dissipates, often leaving a sudden sensation of mental openness, like a light turning on inside your mind. Decisions flow more easily, thoughts feel cleaner, overthinking releases its grip. The tension was simply preparation for clarity. The real impact of Mercury retrograde emerges in daily life. It's as if life quietly enters a cosmic audit. Every routine, pattern, and habit you've run on autopilot suddenly becomes visible, impossible to ignore. It isn't emotional, dramatic, or chaotic. It's precise, surgical, as though someone turned on a bright fluorescent light in a supposedly clean room, revealing every speck of dust you've been walking past. This audit isn't punitive. It isn't about correction. It's about alignment. Mercury governs the details, micro-decisions, subtle behaviors, and small energetic exchanges that form the architecture of daily life. During retrograde, it observes these patterns meticulously. When the retrograde begins, Mercury seems to quietly ask, what's truly working and what's only pretending? You start noticing tiny inconsistencies that were always there but never bothered you before. A morning habit that suddenly feels draining, a tolerated routine that now grates like sandpaper, A conversation that once felt effortless, now leaving you depleted in minutes. These are not random annoyances. They're indicators that your internal system is out of sync with the direction life is pulling you. Alignment never arrives gently. It comes by exposing what no longer fits. That's the essence of Mercury's audit. You'll see parts of life that seemed stable loosen. Systems you relied on reveal weaknesses. Routines that appeared efficient now feel clunky. Mercury retrograde is a quiet, meticulous reset that forces visibility, fosters clarity, and prepares you to operate with deeper alignment. Even the way conversations feel has shifted. The universe isn't trying to break anything. It's simply removing the illusions that were holding you back. What makes this phase so profound is its quiet intensity. This isn't a dramatic collapse or a sudden upheaval. It's a gentle but firm recalibration. Plans fall apart, not because something went wrong, but because they were never truly aligned. People step back because their role in your life is evolving. Habits falter because you've outgrown the reasoning that once supported them. You're not being blocked, you're being guided. This is the post-retrograde phase where the universe quietly reorganizes your internal blueprint. Everything misaligned gets illuminated. Everything unsustainable loosens its grip. Everything that is still true strengthens. And the things that fall away now, they are precisely what would have kept you trapped if they had remained. The beauty of this cosmic audit is that it doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't require conscious acknowledgement. All it needs is your willingness to stop resisting the truth that grows clearer with each passing hour. Many people mistake this process for regression. The clarity that follows retrograde doesn't initially feel inspiring or empowering. At first, it feels like loss, confusion, or a step backward into unfamiliar territory you didn't plan for. The reason is simple. Realignment begins by dismantling the version of yourself built on compromise. Mercury highlights what isn't in alignment but doesn't immediately replace it with something better. First, it creates space, emotional, physical, mental space, which can feel unsettling. You may feel disconnected from things that once gave you stability. You might feel unmotivated, uninspired, or detached from goals that used to excite you. You may even feel inexplicably disappointed. This isn't failure. It's the cost of clarity. Losing interest doesn't mean losing progress. It means releasing the version of yourself that no longer fits the future. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your mind is reorganizing priorities. Your emotions are catching up to truths you have ignored. These transitions are rarely smooth or comfortable, but they are essential. You can't carry forward patterns formed in a version of life you've already outgrown. Mercury removes them decisively, not gently. Many confuse the discomfort with backward movement, assuming that heaviness signals failure. In truth, that pressure is the force of realignment, like a bone being reset. The moment it shifts can hurt, but the pain itself proves that change is happening. This is the same kind of pain, not emotional heartbreak, but internal friction created as your old identity releases its grip while the new one hasn't fully formed. You're in the in-between, and in-between always feels awkward, unfamiliar. You're shedding perceptual habits that once weighed you down. For a brief moment, this feels like lightness paired with uncertainty. Mercury doesn't just propel you forward, it clears the blocks in your path. That clearing can feel like emptiness, like nothing is working, like life has taken something away. But look closely. Nothing you truly needed is being removed. Only the attachments that kept you stagnant are dissolving. The discomfort you feel is the sensation of your life being prepared for its next chapter. It's the pressure before the shift. It's the moment before alignment clicks into place. And while it may not feel pleasant now, it will. Once you stop trying to revive what wasn't meant to survive, what seems chaotic on the surface is actually one of the most precise spiritual recalibrations you'll experience this year. Mercury retrograde doesn't merely disrupt routines or plans. It reaches deep into the architecture of your choices, reactions, and assumptions, quietly rearranging the foundation you've been standing on. The tension, misunderstandings, physical sensitivity, and emotional friction, none of it is random, none wasted. It's preparation disguised as inconvenience. This is when life reveals which parts of your identity were automatic and which are ready to evolve. Retrograde highlights weak spots, not to overwhelm, but to prevent costly mistakes later. The message is clear. Fix the cracks now, because the structure you're moving into cannot hold them. Here's what most people miss. The wisdom born from this discomfort is priceless. It will shape your most important decisions in the months ahead. This isn't knowledge gained from books or advice. It comes from internal friction, from noticing what no longer aligns, from being forced to see the details you once ignored. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confronting the truths that comfort had hidden. Mercury retrograde didn't confuse you. It sharpened you. It stripped away illusions, exposing where you've been settling, tolerating, or avoiding what needed attention. Hidden dynamics rise to the surface. Weak agreements are revealed. Energy leaks are exposed. Habits and patterns unsustainable for your next chapter are highlighted. The reward comes once you stop resisting and start listening. Confusion dissolves into clarity. Emotional weight transforms into insight. You begin to discern intentions more clearly, to notice what energizes or drains you, and to separate ego-driven desires from intuitive guidance. This is the reward phase. Quiet, subtle, but incredibly powerful. It manifests as cleaner boundaries, stronger instincts, and renewed trust in your judgment. One of the most overlooked consequences of Mercury retrograde is how others perceive you. As your internal alignment shifts, the energy you project changes, rewriting how people see you. Old stories, outdated impressions, and assumptions formed months or even years ago are being rewritten. You are being energetically recoded. People pick up on this shift instinctively. They respond differently to your tone. They make space in new ways. Sometimes they pull away, not because of you, but because the version of you they once knew no longer exists. You may notice someone who ignored you now paying attention, someone who dismissed you taking you seriously, or someone from your past returning with softer energy. Social dynamics aren't random. They're recalibrations. Your energy, your presence, your identity, all updated. Mercury retrograde isn't just a planetary phase. It's an internal audit you feel in your body, mind, and routines. Nights may feel unusual, light, dreamless, or fragmented, because your subconscious is sorting through emotional and sensory information your conscious mind hasn't processed. This isn't insomnia, it's protection. Some may feel like they're floating, barely sinking into their bodies, or notice subtle internal ringing in the ears. These micro-signals, amplified during retrograde, are Mercury nudging your nervous system to notice details before your mind catches up. Many also experience head pressure, a gentle weight behind the forehead or eyes, indicating the brain reorganizing patterns, assumptions, and internal narratives. These sensations aren't random. They are cognitive recalibration. Mercury pauses automatic thought loops, prompting your mind to re-evaluate routines, habits, and decisions. Tasks or conversations may feel different, more effortful, or misaligned, because your system is testing what still fits and what no longer serves you. Habits may feel draining. Relationships may feel exhausting. Even posture may become noticeable as your body adapts to subtle shifts. This phase is precise, not dramatic. It illuminates misalignment, loosens the unsustainable, and strengthens what remains true. Emotional clarity often comes disguised as discomfort, heaviness, or confusion. Realignment dismantles outdated versions of yourself, creating space for growth. You may feel disconnected, unmotivated, or uncertain, but these are preparation for insight. When the retrograde stabilizes, tension dissolves, sleep steadies, and clarity emerges. You notice which choices energize you, which routines sustain you, and which relationships align with your growth. Others perceive these shifts too. Your energy subtly changes, rewriting impressions people hold and reshaping dynamics around you. Mercury retrograde is a quiet, meticulous teacher, demanding micro-level adjustments in thought, perception, and action. By the end, you are more aware, more aligned, and more present. What feels like chaos is the clearing of old patterns, dismantling habits and assumptions no longer fit for your trajectory. This is Mercury retrograde, a recalibration calling for awareness, patience, and trust in the unseen work within you. The discomfort, tension, and fleeting confusion are signposts guiding you toward coherent internal structure, stronger instincts, clearer boundaries, and renewed self-trust. When this phase ends, you emerge lighter, clearer, and aligned, ready to navigate life with sharper perception of yourself and the world. Mercury retrograde doesn't break you. It polishes the framework of your life, revealing misalignments and opening space for the next chapter of growth and insight. Let's dive even deeper into what this post-retrograde recalibration truly means. Many people miss the subtle ways Mercury retrograde reorganizes the layers of your reality. Beyond routines and habits, it reaches into the very architecture of your physical, emotional, and energetic systems. The planet doesn't just influence communication, schedules, or technology. It whispers to your nervous system, your body, and even the spaces you inhabit. Think of it as an internal inspection that's invisible to most, but impossible to ignore once you tune into it. One of the first things you might notice after retrograde isn't a grand shift, but a microscopic one. It shows up in micro moments. A slight hesitancy before you speak, a flicker of tension in your shoulders, a subtle tightening in your gut when you confront a choice you've been avoiding. These tiny signals are Mercury's fingerprints. They are the universe nudging you to notice what you've been skimming over, the parts of life running on autopilot that you didn't realize were draining your energy. You might brush them off initially, but these micro-adjustments are the scaffolding for the larger shifts happening beneath the surface. Even mundane interactions become a canvas for recalibration. Conversations may feel slightly off, your words don't land the way they used to, or the energy between you and another person seems slightly misaligned. That's not coincidence. Mercury retrograde temporarily suspends the familiar mechanics of interaction, forcing you to be more conscious of nuance, tone, and emotional intent. You may notice yourself pausing longer before replying, or realizing mid-sentence that the words you're about to say no longer fully reflect what you feel. These aren't failures in communication. They are your internal system, aligning your expression with the truth of your inner state. And this alignment doesn't happen only mentally, it's deeply physical. Your body carries stories of habits, tensions, and long-forgotten compromises. When Mercury retrograde moves through your chart, it nudges the body to remember, to feel, to speak what the mind has overlooked. People often report unusual physical sensations in the hours and days following retrograde. Stiffness in the spine that's gone unnoticed for months. Micro tremors in the hands when stressed. Subtle aches along the jawline or shoulders. Even the posture you take when sitting, standing, or lying down can suddenly feel foreign. These sensations are not random. They are your body's way of mapping misalignments, pointing out where your energy has stagnated, and asking for attention. One of the more fascinating after effects is the way your sensory perception sharpens. Sounds, light, temperature, and even subtle smells may feel amplified. You may notice the faintest ring in your ears or the micro hum of electrical currents around you, sensations that previously went unnoticed. This is Mercury acting through your nervous system, amplifying signals that would normally blend into the background. For those attuned to energetic shifts, it can feel almost like the universe has turned up the resolution of life, forcing you to perceive details you normally ignore, tuning your awareness to the micro level of your existence. Sleep continues to play a central role during this period. Even if Mercury is technically direct, the subconscious lags behind. Dreams, or the absence of dreams, become a mirror for unfinished processing. You may wake repeatedly in the early morning hours, especially around 3 a.m., with your body unusually alert or slightly suspended in a floating sensation. The mind may feel disconnected from the physical body, but this is intentional. Your inner system is quietly sorting through unprocessed emotional and sensory information, closing loops and preparing for integration. Light, fragmented sleep is not a flaw, it's a necessary stage for recalibration. Beyond your own internal experiences, Mercury retrograde subtly rewires the way you relate to others. Social dynamics may feel different, almost imperceptibly at first. People respond to you in ways that reflect the realignment of your energy. Some may suddenly treat you with more respect, attentiveness, or care. Others may distance themselves, not due to your actions, but because the version of you they were interacting with no longer exists. Your energetic presence has changed, and their perception is recalibrating in response. This isn't arbitrary. It's a reflection of how internal alignment projects outward, shaping your social field in real time. Emotional recalibration is another key feature. Feelings that were once muted or ignored surface unexpectedly. Minor frustrations may feel heavier, or past annoyances may suddenly trigger sharper reactions. This isn't regression, it's the nervous system revealing where boundaries were crossed, compromises were made, or energy was drained. If you're still watching, thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed this content and want more, please hit the subscribe button. Your support means the world. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.